Hey guys, this is Kevin, and I decided to make another video on the Dating and Marrying a Filipina series. And today, what I want to talk about is money. Anytime two people are thinking about getting married, they should talk about money because if they don't manage it well or if they disagree on how to use it, it's going to be a source of serious conflict in the relationship. And so today, what I thought I would talk about is Filipino culture and Filipino families versus American families. And I think that'll give you an idea of, or at least an introduction in how you can navigate this. First of all, in your typical American family, I would say a couple of things are true. Not always true, but I'm just talking about generalizations. One, in your typical American family, the money is going to move from older generations to younger generations. So if you think about that, parents raise their children, the money's going to the children as they are, putting them through school, feeding them, clothing them, putting them through college. Eventually, those children kind of become independent, and then they have children. So the parents, the once parents are now grandparents, they're probably not regularly sending money to their children anymore, but now you have grandchildren, so the grandparents are spoiling them, sending money to their grandchildren, and that's typically the way money flows in an American family. And another thing that Americans typically do is we tend to have this idea, generally speaking, that people should take care of themselves and that each family unit should be fairly autonomous and should provide for his or her own and that kind of thing. And I would say that's the way most Americans tend to think, generally speaking, in terms of money. That, of course, does not mean that American families don't help each other. That does not mean that we would never help our parents if need be. Sometimes the money does flow from younger to older, but typically, what I've described, I think, is generally the way it works. Well, in a Filipino family, it's a little bit different because if you were to, like, let's say, draw a family tree, a Filipino family tree, or just let's say you were to take a piece of paper and draw a Filipino family in stick figures, and you were going to try to track the way the money went, by making arrows. Instead of it going one way from older to younger, you would just have it going all over the place. I mean, just everywhere, because that's the way a lot of Filipino families work. There is this sense of shared responsibility that you really need to be looking out for everyone and make sure everyone is doing well. So if someone is raised and then gets a college education and then that person gets a job, he may not just be taking care of his own children, he may be taking care of his parents. He may be trying to support the education of his siblings. You never know. The money just kind of goes all over the place. And I will give you an example of this. I really have a tremendous amount of respect for my wife because, as I've mentioned in another video, by the time she was 19 years old, she was working full time and sending money back to her grandparents to make sure that they had plenty to take care of her three siblings. And this was not something that anyone demanded that she do, or it's not that her siblings would have starved if she had not done this, but she just felt this great sense of responsibility because her grandparents had made sure that she was raised with plenty and that she had gotten a college education. So she just felt this, it's called utang na loob. It's like a debt of gratitude to make sure that her siblings were taken care of. And so it's really a beautiful thing if you think about it. I'm amazed at how giving and unselfish Filipinos can be. Now, consider what I've just told you, and I think you understand that because of the differences culturally in the way families can handle money, that's something that you and your wife or your future wife would need to talk about. Now, if you think about marriage, marriage is obviously a lot of give and take and a lot of compromise. So, if you as an American have the mentality of, well, I'm just going to take care of my wife and I'm never going to, under any circumstances, help her family, that's not going to work. That would be just like somebody demanding that you write your own children out of your will. That's how serious an offense this would be. That's how offensive this would be to any Filipino, the idea that they can never help their family again. Pardon me. So that's not going to work. On the other hand, the Filipina does have to adapt to the American culture, understanding that the cost of living is high here, and that the husband's first responsibility is ultimately to her, and that he may not be able to give back to the family as much as she wants. Again, I'm talking in very general terms, but this is something that you need to talk to your if you're thinking about marrying a Filipina, it's something that you need to talk to her about, and the two of you need to decide what the expectations are on helping the family, and come to some type of compromise on that between the way an American thinks and the way a Filipino family would think. One thing that I want to be sure to clarify here is that in the Philippines, just like in the U.S., every family is different. So I am not saying that every Filipino family would expect you to give huge amounts of money every month. Some of them may not really expect anything from you. In the case, with my wife and I don't really give any monthly amount back to her family in the Philippines because they're more middle class, and now that her siblings are young adults, there's really not, we don't feel the need to do that, and there's no pressure on us to do that. But again, there are other families where the expectations might be different. In the key, what I've been saying all along, and what I'll say again, the key is that you need to talk to your fiance about this, and the two of you need to make some decisions together ahead of time on how you're going to manage this issue. So hopefully I've given you some helpful advice on navigating this. If you have a question or comment, you can just leave it in the comment section below, and maybe I'll make another video based on your question if it's a good one.